Okay, so this is the first go-to session for Writing for Games, May 2016. Still sounds weird to say 2016. That sounds like the future to me. Uh, I guess that just means I'm old. Uh, Today we'll be looking at a free game, what's sometimes called the visual novel genre. Visual novel games, generally that describes games where there's you do where much of the game is text and there are decision points. The player makes choices about what to do, uh, and the whole thing is supported with images, often in the form of there being a large image shown of where the player character is and who the player may be interacting with, and then a smaller text box. Uh, I usually invite my students in game studies to these sessions. I only extended this invitation to Writing for Game students, both in the current class and in last month's class, because this is such a heavily narrative game that I would need to know that a game student actually had a particular interest in games writing and games narrative to expect they're likely to get a whole lot out of this. So, does anyone have any questions before we get started? No? Okay, so this it's the average adventure, the average everyday adventures of Samantha Browne is a short game, so we should be able to play through the entirety of it and then have a little time for discussion. Um, if I had a more private setting, I would basically unplug my earbuds and give you folks a chance to hear the game music. This is not a game where the sound is an essential element, and I am in a shared space. So I'll just tell you that we have some possibly xylophone music here, and it's relatively cheerful. Make note of the cartoonish style. Let me see, where to begin? In the middle of the country lived a girl. I'll be more specific. The girl lived at a university in the middle of the country. She lived in one of the most remote dorms on the university's campus. But no one at her school called it a dorm. They called it a flat, so that's what she called it. Her name was Samantha. There wasn't anything particularly interesting about her. It was just another weeknight, or maybe it was the weekend. Samantha wasn't entirely sure, nor did she really care. Samantha spends most of her time alone in her room. The only time she's not in her room is when she's in a class, at the library, or hiding in a corner somewhere drinking coffee. Samantha's been sitting in her bed for the last 6 hours waiting for everyone to fall asleep. She's hoping to catch the kitchen in a rare state of abandonment. And this is where we join her. Oh, before I forget, watch out for the hunger meter. Hunger. It's there to let you know how hungry Sam is getting. Be careful. Too many wrong decisions, and something terrible could happen. What do you mean by terrible? I guess I mean terrible, extremely or distressingly bad or serious. Alrighty then, please carry on. One more thing. To move forward in the story, simply click on the dialog box. If you need to return to the main menu, click the upper left corner. Your progress will be automatically saved to continue your quest at any time. Well, that's it for me. Good luck. Samka. Hey, what'd you do today, my sweets? Charbot. Hey, not much. Just hung out with the cat. What about you? Samka. Usual. Did some homework, watched my show, drank obscene amounts of coffee. So do you think anyone would be in the kitchen right now? I don't know. What time is it there? like 10:30ish. Also, why do you care if anyone is in the kitchen? The truth. Because I want to make oatmeal, but I don't want anyone to see me making the oatmeal. You really think people care? It's possible. Have you had dinner yet? Not really. Sam! Well, I was going to get food, but then the grocery store was closed, and I was watching my show, and I was all, I could go make oatmeal, I just eat a flapjack from the vending machine. But I'm still not entirely sure what a flapjack is, so... Sam, don't be silly. Go make yourself some food. Fine. Swear if I see anyone. Okay, here I go. 5 minutes later. I can do this. I just have to get out of bed, get the oatmeal, and walk to the kitchen. That's easy. People walk to kitchens every day. See, the oatmeal's just over there. Okay, I'm officially out of bed. What kind of oatmeal do I feel like today? Berries and cream, maple and walnuts, apples and cinnamon. Let's go maple walnut. Blah, I guess. I mean, it's not my favorite, but it'll do. Now just to figure out how many packets to make. Try 1, 2, or 3 packets. You skip dinner, it's 10:30. Let's make 3 packets. Yikes. Oh, let me... 3? No way, I can't eat 3 packets of flippin' oatmeal. That's like 190 grams of sugar or something. What if someone saw me eating the 3 entire packets and be all like, how can someone even consume that much oatmeal at once? Let's try again. Oops. 2 packets? 2 seems appropriate. 2 says, I'm hungry, but I'm not a cow. 2 is a totally reasonable amount of oatmeal for someone to eat. Ha! Ooh, made a choice. Look at me, making choices like an adult. Wait a sec, though. I still need something to eat this with. What do we have here? Now it's time to play. Drum roll. There's a drum roll. Choose that spoon. The only game show where you choose that spoon. Please choose that spoon. You win. Tell them what they've won. You've won an amazing all-purpose eating utensil worth an estimated value of $199.95. All right, now I just have to grab my mug and off we go. All right, check. Oatmeal, check. Spoon, yep. That's it. Wait, just hang on a minute. What if someone's in the hallway? I mean, should I go out there right this second? Let's go. Whoa. I have to walk all the way down there? I'm never gonna make it. Let's take it slow. Just take a deep breath and everything will be fine. Everything is totally good. Yeah, that's a little better. I just have to take this one step at a time. The thing is, I'm just not a people person. I try to tell everyone, but did they listen? No. Communal kitchens? That's the worst possible idea. Here you go, eating from a bunch of complete strangers. How about no? But I eat in the safety and comfort of my own room. No one would bother me then. Yeah, that's a much better idea. Here I am, creeping like a creeper. Bam! The door opening? Shit. Someone coming. Okay. False alarm. Onward. Just want to eat my oatmeal in peace. I don't want to see anyone. I don't want to hear anyone. I sure as hell don't want to talk to anyone. Do you know what? Last time I talked to someone, they told me I did my eyeliner wrong. Small eyes. That's what she told me. It made my eyes look small, and I should trust her because she knew how to do makeup. Well, what the hell am I doing? I wear makeup every day. She's saying I don't know how to do my own makeup? That's super rude. Like, how about you refrain from talking about my face until we've known one another for like 5 minutes? Is that the light? God, what if people are in there? Or worse, if they want to eat with me? Should I go in? Let's go with probably. People. Nightmare confirmed. Should I say hello? Do people still say hello to one another? What should I do? Now, since we're playing as Sam who has social anxiety, I mean, obviously really serious social anxiety, I'm going to try and think for Sam. Maybe it's best just to keep going. Yeah, screw them. It's like, yeah, I'm going to make oatmeal. What about it? Everyone thinks oatmeal is gross, but it's really good. It sweeps cholesterol from the arteries, and that seems important. There, I made it. That's like half the battle. Okay, so I can't use any pots and pans because I don't technically own any. There is this electric kettle. I'm assuming anyone can use that? I mean, I remember in the student orientation guide it said all communal kitchens came with a kettle, so they must be talking about this kettle, I think. By the way, the music has just gotten a little bit speedier. I've never actually used one of these before, but it can't be that hard to figure out. So you'd think there'd be instructions somewhere? What's this coil about? Do I take that thing out? No, come on. That doesn't even make sense. I'm just going to fill the kettle up. What's the worst that could happen? This seems to be going well. Just have to avoid getting electrocuted. Now what? Do I wait here with the sheets up? Or should I go back to my room? I wonder what everyone else does. I guess it doesn't make sense for me to go all the way back to my room, because then I'll have to walk all the way back here, and that seems like a horrible idea. What should I do? Wait here, or let's make sure the kettle's on. Wait, how am I supposed to know if it's on? There's no light or anything. Ask someone for help. It's going to be hard. Yeah, right. What'd I even say? Oh, hello there, fellow student. Can you please assist me in completing one of the most simple tasks a human being can undertake? Nope, not going to happen. Just get these packets ready. So I ran out of time there. I'm not sure what that consequence of that's going to be. Oh, looks like the kettle was on. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. There's a nice pouring sound as the water poured. Give it a quick stir. And now, I wait. Ha 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 he he. What's so funny? What can I do to waste some time while this cooks? I accidentally skipped a line there. Because I can't just stand here looking at the oatmeal like an idiot. Yes, cleaning. That's a totally normal person thing. Cleaning is a legitimate reason for someone being in the kitchen for an extended period of time. Uh-oh. No, no. Hey, everything okay in there? No, it's not. And I think that may be the end of this playthrough. Uh-oh, you failed and Samantha is still hungry. Would you like to try again or rage quit? You see what time it is. Okay, we can totally do another session. We'll just make sure we have time to talk about this. I'm going to kind of skim over things we've already hit. See if we can get oatmeal made this time. Where to begin? Country, college, dorm called a flat, Samantha, and there's our hunger gauge. Yeah, okay, keep clicking to go forward. Clearly doesn't actually be in the box. Chatting with someone. Just going to encourage Samantha to actually eat. Because the work of being honest. I don't know if that's beneficial or not. I'm trying to figure out who would not know what a flapjack is. I don't know. Well, of you know what a flapjack is? I mean, it's a pancake. But this is set in the UK, so I don't know. Just, okay, we know that Maple Wants isn't her favorite. Let's try blueberries and cream. I don't think so. Not today. Okay, so not apple cinnamon. Yes, this is the one I want. We should just tell us to be with it. I just have to figure out how many packets to make. Okay, 2 packets is a good call. We know that. And Sam is mentioned to be anxious about what people think about how much oatmeal she eats. Drum roll. Who's that? Spoon. I think I can actually relate to the inner monologue in some of this. I mean, I don't know about you, but I certainly sometimes put silly and sometimes dumb ideas to everyday actions. There was Neil Gaiman who said that he tells his kids that everything they do is an adventure. I think, as a parent, I can relate to that. We're going to go out to the grocery store. It's an adventure. And that's just with a couple of kids, as opposed to a crippling anxiety. Okay. Taking it slow worked before. Let's stick with that. So door, profanity, makeup, going into the kitchen. Sure, the normal average everyday thing to say hi, but people are not all the same. I want to say hi. Hi. Just staring. Okay. I'm not just saying hello. I think it's weird that I'm eating so late. Like, oh, she's probably already had dinner. Now she's back for more. I can tell them I haven't had dinner yet. No, that's stupid. Why would I say that? Fine. Into the kitchen. Or into the kitchen part of the kitchen. Okay. Half the battle is getting to the kitchen. Electric kettle. Mysteries of the electric kettle. Filling it up. Now what? Wait here. Back to my room. What should I do? Wait here. I didn't appreciate how those girls were looking at me. Why are they sitting there anyway? Shouldn't they hang out at the room or something, not loaded in the kitchen? Having a conversation. Yeah, they're not like it all the same. Ah, the cat timer is how long it takes for the kettle to boil. Did you mention me a little bit anxious, gaming, like I have to do something but the timer runs out. No, just how long till the kettle boils. It does just a little bit of anxiety that mirrors, gaming anxiety mirrors the social anxiety this story is about. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Here we go again. Do now is not break the mug or spill it. Yeah. Quick stir. Now. Good. Laughter. It's so funny. So, what the heck, I need to waste some time while this cooks. I guess we're going to hide in the corner since cleaning did not go so well. Corner's good because no one can see me here. So I'm supposed to meet with my advisor next week. I'm supposed to come prepared with questions. The only problem is I don't have any questions. Is it bad that I can't think of any questions to ask? I don't want to be a bad student. I want to be a good student. I just can't think of anything to ask. I wonder what other people are asking. Have other people already asked questions of their advisors? Tasty taste for me? Oh, crap. Oatmeal in my hair. Oh no. Oh, spill the oatmeal again. Hey, everything okay in here? Look, everything is okay? Wow. Oatmeal is hard. We're going to go ahead and quit, so we'll have some time to talk about this. So, okay, folks, what did you think? This is a short game, and it's, almost pure story. Did you like it? If you did, why? If not, why? So, if this story works, what makes it work? If this game works, what makes it work as a game? Yeah, Aria, if in your chat box to send chats to everybody, you need to go down below the part where you type in. There should be a to section, and you can click there, and you should be able to select entire audience. There we go. So, if memory serves, this game was created specifically to explore the issues of social anxiety and to kind of present, a little vignette to people of what it's like to live with serious social anxiety. And comments, Kareem says the story was organized, instructions for the game were simple. Maria says I felt it was more of a story than a game, like an interactive book with choose an ending. Um, yeah, this is a very some people who are some people in the field of game studies don't consider visual novels or interactive fiction to be games proper. Um, my perspective is pretty simple that uh, games involve variable degrees of storytelling and narrative. And what we looked at today was an example. Yeah, visual novel. Yes, this is a visual novel. Um, is pretty far toward the extreme of storytelling with just a little bit of interaction. Um, Again, like a choose your own adventure book. Uh, and Rachel's saying that got us about social anxiety right away. I like that. Raina's not a big fan of visual novels, but like the theme. Um, yeah, it's, some people, reject the whole concept of visual novel because it's, why would you not just have either a novel or a more interactive game? That's actually a debate people can have. Uh, I'd say that's a matter of taste, a matter of, what would people individually like. In this case, I think that part of the point of doing this as a visual novel, as opposed to, say, kind of a sketch animated YouTube video, is to try and involve the player in that feeling of just how easy the anxiety spirals out of control and creates these silly, unfortunate outcomes. Um, if you imagine being as anxious about making instant oatmeal as you've ever been about, say, the most important test you ever took, or getting behind the wheel for the first time, learning to drive, or having to deal with a crisis situation, like if you had to give someone emergency aid because they, were injured. Um, Aria, I would have to check. I don't think this was created using Twine. It's more likely it was created using RenP. Uh, RenP is a visual novel creation tool that involves some light scripting. It's a little more complicated than Twine, but it's only about as complicated as Choice Script, which we'll look at by the end of the class. I'll spell it in the text box. RenPy. Uh, Ren asterisk py is because it's based on the scripting language Python. And Kareem, you have some questions? Please do ask.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I have a question with regards to the Twine
Mm-hmm.
game. Okay, when I went to the website to download, there were two versions, and I just want to make sure that I'm working on the correct version. Do you want us to work on Twine 1.4.2
No, I want you
or
want use Twine 2. Twine 2.0.11, whatever it is now. I need to get an updated video asset for the class because it does say to use 2.0.11 in the lessons, but there's still a reference to 1.4.2 or whatever in that video. So, yeah, do get Twine 2, Twine 2.0.11.
I actually downloaded both because I was working on the one that was the link that was at the top, and I believe it's the two. And I looked at the video and I saw it wasn't the same, I guess, software, and so I downloaded the other one in which it matched. And the one that I downloaded first is more advanced or upgraded. Is that correct?
Yes. Twine 2 is a new version of the engine. And in Twine 2, uh, the the okay, Twine 2 basically it is intended to be easier to use. It also simplifies the process because the most technical side of it has been redone such that for basic use you don't have to worry as much about the technical details. You really didn't have to with Twine 1.4 either. Um, but a number of things are made a little easier, a little bit um, more just kind of get in and go, and it should work. For example, in Twine 1.4.2, if you don't name your first passage start, the game doesn't know where to start, and you won't get a playable game. In
Okay.
Twine 2, the first passage you create automatically has a little rocket ship that's a start, which basically means start here, attached to it, and you can click an icon to move that to a different passage if you decide that's not where you want your Twine to start. Um, we'll see, maybe I can get a short video in Twine 2 up tomorrow.
Okay. And once we finish with the writing, I mean, are you expecting us to have a game like the game you just showed us, or is specifically just the writing part?
Okay, so you do not need for assignment 1 any images or sound or anything like that. Um,
Okay.
you should have a relatively short playable game, so you want your writing to be, you want to make sure that the writing you do in Twine represents your skills as a creative writer. It doesn't have to be your finest work ever, but write in an appealing, interesting way for the player, as opposed to say doing the kind of descriptions you've been taught how to do for screenplays, where they're very utilitarian. Um, for this first assignment, uh, what I'm looking for is to see, you know, ability to handle the basic elements of Twine, um, ability to put together a plot that is coherent, and basic basic writing skills. So, just writing that is engaging and is relatively free of errors. Relatively, it is. I know that it is a little harder to proofread in Twine than it is in a Word document. Uh, we will be doing a more ambitious Twine assignment in week 3, where we're using Twine to create just a focused conversation, what's called branching dialogue. So it'll be one scene at that point that will involve a lot more options and choices. You only have to include 2 places where the player gets to make a choice in assignment 1. So assignment 1, the way that it's structured as a narrative is very much like the game we just played. Again, it doesn't even need to be, I'm not expecting it to be as long as the game we just played. This game we just played was short. We're talking something shorter than that. Just a very short little narrative. If you wind up making more of it, that's okay. This is not an assignment where I penalize people for doing more. Though, if you introduce more errors by doing more than you're required to, it might not help you in that case. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, other questions?
I guess I have one more question with regards to your views about gaming, and I wanted to know, do you consider what's taking place on social media, like the name test. Do you consider that a game if it's like you you hit this say the game, like what does your name mean in Japanese? And is it taking data to, or is it just like a random guess? And would you consider that a game?
Um,
And
Go ahead.
no, I was just wondering if you consider that a game, and your views about where like laser tag is going with virtual reality.
Okay, so those are two different issues, but they're both good issues and
Yes.
good questions in terms of kind of what is gaming, what are the boundaries of gaming, what is gaming, how's it changing, or is it becoming? Um, little Facebook things like what would your name be, or what would it mean in Japanese, or you know, things, little Facebook app to do things like organize your personal gang of roaring 20s flappers and rum runners out of your friends. Those things are definitely, they're digital media, they're entertainment, they are in some cases using some of the same uh, techniques that are used in games. I don't draw hard lines on this kind of topic, um, but one one of the sets of criteria that's often used to describe what a game is that games have rules and victory conditions. Basically, when you play a game, there should be some sort of activity you engage in as a player where you have some measure of control, and there's some structure or consistency established on some level, and your decisions or actions uh, have an effect on the outcome. Uh, so, something that just I, I I would say that it would be easier to consider a Facebook quiz, where it's like what kind of color are you, or something like that, um, or which character from Game of Thrones are you, is more of a game than something that just takes information from your Facebook account and gives you some sort of result. It is true that a lot of those games, a lot of those plugins do actually draw on some information from your Facebook account, but some of them might also just be entirely random. I would have to actually be able to dig into the code, the way that they're programmed, to find out, because it could vary from one Facebook app to another. And I wouldn't necessarily be uh, comfortable enough. Well, depending on how it's coded, it might or might not be possible to easily just tell. If it is purely a random selection from the list, that actually usually is pretty easy to see, even if you're not familiar with the programming language. Um, but yeah, a good rule of thumb for is it a game is there some way, some goal, maybe not absolute victory, but for example, some games the goal is to play as long as you can, like an infinite runner game, where you and get the highest score possible. Is there a goal, and is the player able to actively do things to achieve that? Virtual reality is a really interesting kind of hot topic right now, with a huge renewed interest coming with these new, very expensive virtual reality headsets. We're talking $600 and up. Uh, uh, I think that that's an interesting kind of offers certain possibilities for gameplay. I don't consider virtual reality games to inherently be in any way superior to other kinds of games. The technology makes differences in how games play possible, and then the question is what people do with the technology. Uh, to offer a point of comparison, uh, color film is not necessarily superior to black and white film, but it clearly had such broad appeal that even though black and white film is still made and is still less expensive than color film. Almost everything is shot, and well, okay, at this point it's increasingly digital, and the cost of the film itself is a non-issue. But uh, color film largely replaced black and white film. It's possible that virtual reality technology will be so popular it will largely replace flat computer or device screens for gaming. Personally speaking, I hope that it doesn't, because a lot of the games I like best don't require being fully immersed in a virtual environment. They allow you to play from having a little bit broader perspective as opposed to basically being an eye in the scene. Um, I do want to know if you have any follow-up questions to that, but to attempt to answer Aria's question about passages connecting, uh, if you create the syntax for a link in Twine 2, actually, and also in the most recent versions before they went to 22, so either one, Twine should auto-generate the passage for you. But if you're adding more passages, say, for example, if you have a couple different passages that all link to the same one, the syntax becomes incredibly important. Twine will only link to a passage if the name given in the link is exactly identical to the name of the passage you're linking to. That includes capitalization. So, for example, thinking about the Sam Browne game, kitchen spelled with a capital K and kitchen spelled with a lowercase k. As far as Twine is concerned, those are two different passages, two different locations, completely different. Similarly, if you create your link with the brackets and inside the link you have kitchen and then a space after kitchen before you close the brackets, Twine is going to look for a passage whose title is kitchen space, not just kitchen. Um, those are the kinds of issues usually when passages aren't linking up properly, that there is a typo or capitalization or space or punctuation included inside a bracket when it should be outside. That kind of thing is one of the main reasons when people's passages don't all link up properly in Twine. And just watched a video. Current says that virtual reality theme parks are the future of laser tag and paintball. That's quite possible. Especially something like laser tag that's already so highly mediated. Virtual reality has some strong applications for allowing people to engage in gaming with each other. Though at the same time, not just as a matter of technological fidelity, but also as a matter of some kind of appeal to people personally. There is something to the analog, the actual. So, for example, one of the things people actually care about who are serious paintballers, and I've never played paintball, so I'm very much speaking in a second-hand way here, is the dust and grime and the fact that the paintballs actually sting a little bit when they hit you. And so are there people who would rather play a game like paintball in virtual reality where you don't have to worry about cleaning paint out of your clothes? Sure. But there will also be people who will want that visceral quality. And I would say that first, virtual reality, as far as it has come recently, still is not the holodeck from Star Trek, where you can replicate the experience of eating food and all that. And second, even if it was, as long as people knew, there would be some draw to the actual, um, even if it was hard to tell the difference. I could be wrong about that in terms of science fiction possibilities, but I think that's kind of human psychology. What I do think is the case is that we are going to see virtual reality kind of arcades, perhaps, places where people can go with groups and use high quality, expensive virtual reality gear to play games with each other without having to own $800 uh, headsets. I say $800, not in any way kidding, because the HTC Vive, which many people are saying is better than the Oculus Rift, which is the $650 one, the HTC Vive is literally $800. Um, that's a lot of money to pay for a piece of hardware that allows you to play a certain kind of game, of which not many exist yet, because there are some games that have been adapted to virtual reality. But most people who are really into it will say that for a game to work really well as a virtual reality game, it doesn't just need to be made as a 3D game using a 3D design engine like so many video games are right now. It has to be designed for virtual reality. So, more questions about Twine or about gaming in general? Okay. Aria, let me know if that helped. If not, get in touch with me. In fact, I'll say this to everybody: if you're having trouble with Twine, feel free to send me, your Twine in progress. Do compress it to a zip file first, and so I can take a look. And if you're making some, kind of big scale or easy or technical errors, I'll be happy to point you in the right direction. My goal here isn't to see people stumble over the technical details. My goal is to help people successfully use the software. Okay, Ari, I see you have a question about game narrative. Go ahead. Either in the chat or audio. Yes. In this particular game, there was a clear goal, but then she did not reach it. Right. Now, it's a statement. I think I know where you're going with this, but what all the elements of story? Yes. Okay. In our games, you want us to craft a story that has a traditional character arc. So, some context and then a question. So, in the game, as we played it, there was a goal, but Sam was not successful. There were all the elements of story, complete story arc. In our Twine games, you want to craft a story that has a traditional character arc, and traditional story elements are focused on play. Okay, so Twine is very narrative focused. So I do want some sort of logically complete plot. It may not necessarily actually have all the elements of a complete plot arc or story, depending on how those elements are defined, but that I do want you to cover a logically complete story-driven scenario and give the player a couple of choices along the way. In game writing, game writers often have to write narrative that works in the context of and hopefully is enhanced by and enhances gameplay that is designed in whole or in large part by other people on a game design team. Sometimes it's the case that a principal game designer, that is, say, a person who's thinking about the game mechanics and what the gameplay experience should be like, is also the game's writer. But in many cases, it's not. Writers are actually, this is not so as true as it used to be, thankfully, writers are sometimes actually brought in when the game is largely complete to kind of fit a story to a gameplay experience. For something in this class, because this is a writing class, I do want a focus on writing. Okay, so here's a follow-up question. Should we approach this as we would the creation of any story? Review the current world, have a character flaw, inciting incident, etc. What I'll say to that is that doing that is not wrong. That is one successful, appropriate way to go about it. But it can also be okay for an assignment like this one to approach it a little differently. For example, the elements of a plot arc and character arc as apply, especially in terms of Hollywood screenwriting, are not always the elements of storytelling used in a video game. In the Joseph Campbell inspired hero's journey based models, this idea that there's going to be a call to adventure and the refusal of the call. This helps build dramatic tension for the protagonists of the story as they hesitate over whether or not they should take this big step. A lot of video games skip right over hesitation, and there are other narratives that do as well, but it's something that is present in a whole lot of other narratives that is often not present in game stories. So, this story, you can apply all of that to, right? The Sam Browne, you can see the current world that's unfolded at the beginning. You can see what Sam's character flaw is, the inciting incident, etc. Approaching this assignment that way is definitely a good way to approach the assignment. If you have an idea for this assignment that is more focused on gameplay, as long as it does tell some sort of story in the process, you don't have to be too worried about strictly following that kind of outline. One of the options, for example, is to do a more detailed scene from a larger story idea you have that you think would make a good game. In which case, that scene needs to be logically complete in itself. For example, escaping a room that's filling up with sand. But that scene isn't going to, have a signature character. Probably isn't. It might, but it probably is going to have a signature character flaw for the game's protagonist, because it's an escape the room scenario in which the focus is all on the challenge presented by the environment. Written properly, that would be acceptable for assignment 1. It's probably going to be easier, though, to write something that's a traditional story arc. I know I'm saying both things, but that's because I mean it, that you can go either way with this. Does that help, Aria? Oh, and by the way, everyone, if I'm mispronouncing your names, please do let me know. I haven't... Okay, good. Yeah, I haven't been... should have asked each of you to confirm that I was speaking about you. Good. On a related note then, Kareem, have I been pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes.
Good. Rachel, okay, good. So any other questions before we stop recording and wrap this up?
No questions.
Okay. Well, thank you for attending. Hope this has
Wait.
been enjoyable and helpful. And if you're watching this later and have any questions, please do follow up with me via full cell message, email, or by calling as soon as possible. The earlier I get any questions you have, especially questions about the week's assignments, the more easy it is for me to give you a helpful response in a timely manner. So, hope you're all having a good day. Take care. Bye.